What's going on, guys? Welcome to another video where I break down scenes from the hit series The Mentalist and tell you which ones are possible, which ones are completely fictional, and this week we have a really special episode. I'm gonna tell you the secrets to some of the tricks that he does throughout the show. We're gonna talk about a technique to get the truth out of people, so stick around, guys. It's gonna be a ton of fun. Here we go.
Hey, Jane, teach me a card trick, will you?
Say pick a card.
Okay. Pick a card.
Okay. Put it back in the deck. Place the deck very gently on your forehead. And try to visualize the card that I picked. Just focus and see it. What springs to mind? What card do you see?
9 of hearts.
9 of hearts. Got it?
How did it do that?
Very good. Very, very good. Let me try. Pick a card.
That one.
Memorize it. Jack of diamonds.
Nope.
Are you sure?
Yep.
Well, Cho.
It's a card trick, not interested.
Well, I guess card tricks are lame.
Yep, when they don't work.
I just found this in John Doe's jacket pocket. I don't know why I didn't notice it before.
Thanks.
I figured some kind of message, maybe, from the killer.
That's my card. How did you do that?
What?
Card tricks? A man has lost his life. You should be ashamed of yourself.
Oh. Shame. Never mind. Shame. Shame. So shameful. Terrible.
Okay, so there is a lot to unpack over here. It's a wild roller coaster of a trick, 2 tricks actually. And before we even begin, I'm gonna tell you guys this. One of the tricks he just did, because there were 2 tricks we saw, one of them is absolutely possible. It can be done almost exactly the way we saw it, and the other one cannot be done the way we just saw it. So I'm asking the non-magicians right now, because the magicians will instinctively know. Let me know in the comments, which one of those 2 tricks do you believe is possible and which one is impossible? I think some people will instinctively get this wrong. And here's the reveal, drum roll. The first trick is impossible. So I'm not even really sure what the effect is supposed to be on that one. The plot is called Spectator as Magician. Anytime we do a trick where it looks like the spectator is doing the trick, it's called Spectator as Magician. And in this case, I don't even know what the effect is supposed to be, because he has his partner have him pick a card, then he puts it back, then he says, focus, tell me what the card is, and then it's in his pocket. So it's like a card to pocket, but who's the one who did the trick? It's a bit of a weird script, but in terms of method, for a card to go to the pocket, now first of all, you can go back and look at it. The card he picked was not the 9 of hearts. So the guy got it wrong. The card he picked was the 7 of hearts. But even at that, so he puts it back, then his friend says 9 of hearts, and the goal is basically whatever card his friend named, he's gonna reach into his pocket and he's gonna pull out that card. It would never look that clean. I could think of 4 methods right now for you to name a card, for me to reach into my pocket and pull that card out of my pocket, and it would never look that direct. First of all, he went right in and pulled it out. There was no fishing, there was no looking for something, like if, maybe there's a couple of different options in there. Also, the selection was just a randomly named card, so he couldn't have manipulated that. So having someone name a card and just reaching into your pocket and pulling it out like that would not look that way, especially because there couldn't have been a setup. He just, he called him into his office and said, hey, come show me a trick. So yeah, that cannot look that way. However, the second trick we just saw is absolutely possible. So he has his friend take a card, he puts it back in, and then later at the crime scene, it's found on the body of one of the victims. Now it's dark, it's ominous. I really am not a big fan of that trick at all, but it's possible. So magicians have a million ways to know when you pick a card what that card is. Honestly, it would be impossible for me to tell you what he did, because there's a million ways to do exactly that. And then at the crime scene, we even noticed the investigator says something like, I don't know how I missed it before, so clearly it wasn't there before. So when he got there, he planted it there. that part's pretty easy. So, I mean, it's highly illegal. You can get in a lot of trouble professionally for that, but I guess it's commitment to the effect. But the bottom line is the first trick was impossible to do it exactly that way. The second trick is possible. Before we jump to the next scene, I just want to throw this in really quick. Some people are going to watch this and go, oh, maybe that first trick is possible because you planted the idea of the 9 of hearts in his set. No, that's not how mentalism works at all. I know that a lot of people think mentalists can easily plant cards in your head just with our gestures and our words. That's not the way mentalism works at all. It's meant to look that way, but we always have more reliable ways of doing things. So can mentalists plant cards in your head? We have scripts and things that we do to increase our odds a little bit of you naming a card, but it's never something that we would rely on like this for a trick, for the card to end up in our pocket without having other outs or having some sort of more reliable method. So no, he did not do that. All right, now we're gonna look at a scene where I'm gonna show you a way to formulate a question to get the truth out of people more often. But before we do me a big favor, guys, hit that subscribe button, turn those notifications on for more amazing mentalism and psychology content.
Mr. Jane, may I ask?
Marcus, if I wanted to break into this compound, where would be the best place to do it?
Excuse me?
Where's the weak link?
This property is 100% secure.
When you learned someone had been murdered in the guest house, something popped into your mind, an image of a location you'd been worried about, a weakness. What was it?
No,
Yes.
it's nothing, but
Go on.
north wall. Property bends around the gully. Curve in the wall makes it hard for the sensors to pick up movement.
Okay.
You'll need to go through the gate.
Okay, of course.
Wow, that scene is a roller coaster. There's so much good to it and then so much that's just complete fiction. But the main lesson, the thing I really, really love about this is the first question that he asked. He said, now note, a lot of people think that leading questions will get you answers. Like if you assume something and you ask it to someone, you're gonna see whether they're telling the truth or not. Well, in interrogation, very often interrogators use something called a presumptive question. It's really cleverly formulated to where it's not really making an assumption. Let's look at the first question he asked him. He said, if I wanted to break into this compound, what would be the best way to do it? He's not saying that, where's the weakness? Where did you mess up? He's not putting it on him like that. He's not assuming that the guy made a mistake. He's saying, if I wanted to do it, what would be the best way to do that? That's a presumptive question where it sort of, without really being too aggressive, it kind of presumes that there might be a way to do that. I just need to know what it is. So the guy will come back with an answer most of the time. Now, he started with a really well formulated question, but immediately after that, he did something that I would not do, especially with a security guard, especially with the head of security, who's very proud of the system he's got here. He goes, where's the weak link? Like he's assuming, straight up assuming, and that's a leading question to say that there is a weakness to the security system. So it's like he started really well, and then the second question I find was a little more confrontational. Then after that, it kind of goes back up again because he goes, when you found out that somebody broke in here, your mind went to something. I want to know what that is. That's a really, really great question. And it is something that you can often ask witnesses or people who are close to a situation to say something like, when you found out about this, who popped into your mind? You're basically asking them to give you a subconscious answer, not an analytic, like looking at the facts, just like in your heart, what do you think happened? And you might find some good information in there, especially in this case from someone who knows that security system really, really well. At the very same time that conversation is happening, he does this weird like hand gesture before he asks the question, and then the guy is like, seems like he's like in this kind of trance, and at the end he kind of like gets out of it. I have no idea what that's supposed to be. Honestly, in all my years of studying mentalism, hypnosis, behavior analysis, interrogation, profiling, all these things, I don't know what that technique is. I think it's just meant to be like good Hollywood, like he did this thing to get cooperation out of him, but I have no idea what that's supposed to be realistically. Speaking of interrogation, just last week I was in the Bahamas hanging out with one of the absolute best interrogation experts on this planet. He is a #1 best-selling author on the subject of body language and persuasion, and we talked all about interrogation and techniques and ways to extract information from people. Let me know in the comments if you guys want me to put that on the express lane and get that out to you guys soon. Are you guys interested in seeing that? I have some other projects, but if you guys are interested in that, I can move it up and release that soon. So let me know in the comments if that type of content would interest you.
Listen closely and please tell the truth. Is there a way out of here that avoids the main gates? A back way out?
Yes.
Where?
Walk a mile north. There's a culvert that goes under the fence halfway along the northeast property line.
Excellent. Now, tell the truth. Did you ever go by the name Lilith Blom?
Yes.
Did you spend time in a mental asylum?
Yes.
Do you have a secret crush on Cliff Edmonds?
Yes.
Did you kill Alicia Seberg?
No.
I believe you.
So a bit of a weird scene on this one. It's sort of like, I kind of get in scripting what they were going for, but then there's a couple of things in execution that honestly confuse me and I'm not sure what's going on, and maybe you guys can help me figure this out. So he's got this lab technician and he's gonna try to get some information out of her. And the first thing he does is he asks what we call a baseline question. This is a way to know what the person's face does when they're telling the truth, because he's about to ask some more sensitive questions. So with the first question, we see her answer and she's looking down and she's blinking very often. She has a very above normal blink rate on that answer. She's also looking down, which I don't know if this was just the actress was trying to play this role and she miscalculated. Typically when we recall something, especially something visual like that first answer, we tend to go up. Now don't take this to the bank, it's not always the case, but in most cases when we go down, that's emotional response. So that's just a little note there, it's not that important. She's blinking often, she's giving the answer. Now he puts his hand on her shoulder and he says, now tell the truth. And all of a sudden we see her go into this glazed over, sort of like these sort of very robotic answers. And I'm not really sure what we're supposed to believe there. Is it that his hand on her shoulder put her in some sort of trance? If that's the case, I don't recall in the episode us seeing him work on her previously to condition that. So I don't know what that was. And then he asks a couple of more baseline questions about her past, things that he already knows the answer to, and she answers those. And then her last answer is consistent with those answers, but not that first answer. So it's very confusing to me. Let me know in the comments if you guys know what they were going for on this. But in a real interrogation, you know, you would have those baseline questions and you would ask the other questions and you would look for that consistency or inconsistency. But I don't really know what was happening here with those middle questions, and particularly the hand on the shoulder with this weird sort of glazed over thing. If the goal was to put her in hypnosis, why was he doing all the baseline stuff? He would have just gone straight to that. So it's very confusing for me. That's what I got.
This crystal is from ancient Egypt. Its healing powers are legendary. Where there is sickness, it brings health. This may be hard to watch.
No, don't.
And when the crystal is applied, the burn is healed. The same thing happens with the tumors. They just disappear.
I want it.
Ma'am, we are here for the next 3 days. You can have as many appointments as you like.
No. I want the crystal. I want to buy it.
Oh, that's not possible, ma'am.
I brought cash.
Oh man, so that one is very accurate. It's too accurate. And it even highlights a part of mentalism that I'm just not a big fan of. I love these scenes where they go back to his past to show his roots. And here we see two very accurate things. The first is that blister effect. That's a classic in magic and mentalism, to where a blister appears on a finger, and there's a lot of different ways to present that. But yeah, if you take a key and you press the keyhole into your finger like that, it's going to look like a blister. And in this case, he used it to demonstrate the healing powers of this crystal before he had decided he didn't want to use his abilities to lie to people. And that's the second part of this that's really accurate. I would say less mentalists, but a lot of mediums and psychics use the knowledge that we have in mentalism, whether it's cold reading, whether it's trickery, whether it's ways to know what people are thinking, and use it to sell things like this to people, to sell hope, to sell lies. And most mentalists, luckily, have a big problem with that. Some really commit and say what they do is real and they try to sell that. I'm not a fan of that way of thinking, but it's out there and it's real, and there's a lot of people out there using trickery and things like that to make you believe that they have certain abilities to try to take advantage of people that are in a dark place. And I absolutely hate that practice. Let me know in the comments if you've come across that type of thing, what your opinions on that is. But for me, it's an immediate no. And that's part of the reason I do this series, to make you guys more aware of the types of things mentalists can do. That way, if somebody tries to take advantage of you with this kind of stuff, you can immediately say, you know what, something's weird here. And you can always come back to my channel, guys. Tell me in the comments what you witnessed, and I will help you figure it out if someone is trying to take advantage of you, because I have zero tolerance for that. So there it was, guys. Hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments what you thought of this one. Also, let me know if you're excited for that information on interrogation. I'm pretty excited to bring that to you guys, and I will see you on the next one.